welcome to Learning with Lulu. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a book that I have read by Dave Ramsey called Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money. So I love reading financial books. I love having a understanding of my own finances, how to utilize my finances and income and spending to bring together a life that is abundant. And I do want to, before jumping into this, I do want to say that I feel like, especially in the traditional society, there's this concept that money is the root of all evil. I love being able to break that mindset and having a healthy relationship with material things, with money. I think one of my favorite things in this book is, it's money takes on the energy of the person holding it. All it does is help magnify what is already there. So money is not the root of all evil. Money is not evil. Money can be used to do so many good things in the world. And so I think an important thing to remember is, what is your intention with your desire for wealth? And what authentically do you want to magnify in the world through your own growth in financial matters? So just wanted to put that out there and say that to anyone who may kind of be struggling with like this desire that they may have to be very wealthy and abundant, that there's no problem with wanting to be a highly spiritual person and also be like material and blessed materially as well. So anyway, to jump into Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money, if you are interested in finances at all and like already have researched it, you're probably already very familiar with Dave Ramsey, and for good reason. Dave Ramsey is very much known for the baby steps, and that's what this book goes over. It's chapter after chapter devoted to breaking down the finer details, further explaining and defining each baby step. And so just to jump into it, so the baby steps are as follows. So baby step number 1 he has is put $1,000 in a beginner emergency fund, $500 if your income is under $20,000 per year. So my husband and I have utilized this baby step, and I think it is so important. I love that it's the first one because it gives you that cushion. It gives you that sense of security. And before you start any self-development, self-growth thing, having like security is what's going to help keep you in it. And so the emergency fund is such a smart way to start any financial makeover or plan. My husband and my goal was to have enough money in an emergency plan that could get us through 3 to 6 months of living expenses were anything to happen. And I want to acknowledge that lately in 2020 to 2023, that definitely is going to like start looking different. My husband and I, we have definitely struggled a bit with how expensive things have become, and yet my husband's still in school, and I do work from home, but my primary desire right now in life is to be a mother to our daughter and take care of her. And so with the inflation of so many things, and yet being like a young couple and my husband is still in school, and also like the pay that he gets and that I get for the part-time stuff I do, it doesn't it doesn't really match what inflation is doing. So anyway, this is to say that like we have had to rely on our emergency fund a bit, and just the pricing of apartments or homes, it is making the emergency fund something that like we've already had to dip into because of just the economy. Something I will say with all of this Dave Ramsey approach is it's definitely not easy. And I say that because following it, we have remained out of debt. My husband is going to be graduating school debt-free, and yet we have been living so tight the past while. And like, you know, there's that thing that like when you are working on something, you know that it's going to feel so good later when, you know, my husband is done with school and done with like working however many different jobs. But living on so tight a budget for so long, and with raising a child and also wanting to take care of our own mental health, it is taxing. There have been many times that I have just broken down and been in tears at how tightly we're having to live and like cut things out. So I will say, like, doing the Dave Ramsey method, at least for us right now, it isn't like the easiest necessarily, but our hopes is that, you know, in a few months' time, it's really going to start paying off. So that's everything for baby step number 1, I guess, that I'm saying. Then baby step number 2 is pay off all debt using the debt snowball. I do love the debt snowball. Like I said, my husband and I, we have no debt. The only debt that we've had in our marriage ever was when we purchased our cars. Up until then, we had just been buying basically the cheapest cars we could find, and they just weren't reliable and costing more money on that end. So we did invest in cars that were going to be reliable, and we had them both paid off really quickly by doing the debt snowball. The Ramsey company, they do offer like a PDF that I'll link down below so that you can kind of take a look at how it works. And I do highly recommend doing the debt snowball if you have any sort of debt, because, you know, aside from me sharing that like I've broken down and been very stressed at just like our finances being so tight, the debt snowball, like, it's so nice knowing that we're not in debt, knowing that there's no interest on money that we owe some company out there. So that's baby step number 2, and I'll link that PDF down below if you are interested. Baby step number 3 is put 3 to 6 months of expenses into a savings as a full emergency fund. Okay, so I already kind of covered this on baby step number 1, but that's so that, you know, if anything does happen with someone's job or just external factors contributing to your family's ability to have a substantial enough income to live off of, you want to have that so that you aren't stressing for those 3 to 6 months about how you're going to be buying groceries, buying gas, paying rent, or paying your mortgage. So baby step number 3 is very similar to baby step number 1. I feel like baby step number 1 with just the $1,000, that's just so like those unplanned, unexpected things that come up so that you can have them in your bank account there to help you in those actual emergency times. You know, an emergency, Dave Ramsey says, like, it's an actual emergency. It's not like, oh, I am so hungry, so I'm just gonna stop off at, I don't know, Cafe Rio. You know, that's not an emergency. Like, if you could go home and feed yourself, then do that. If you don't have it in the budget to like stop somewhere and get some lunch or whatever. That's a silly example, but there you have it. Then there's baby step number 4, which is to invest 15% of your household income into Roth IRAs and pre-tax retirement plans. And to be completely honest, like, my husband and I, we're not to that step yet. We would love to be in that step, but you know, we're not there yet. We're just still on baby step number 3. I will say in this book, Dave Ramsey, he does have a wonderful breakdown of how to invest in, as he says, Roth IRAs and pre-tax retirement accounts. And especially for any woman out there listening, start doing this now. He has a wonderful graphic of this, like, Ben versus Arthur, and I don't know if you can see, but so Ben, he invests a certain amount starting at age 19, but he only does so for a few years. But because of the growth, because of like the interest it makes back, it grows significantly more than the person who wasn't contributing for those few years and then starts and pays up until that same age. The person who started investing sooner still has more in the end because of compound interest. And so that's really inspiring to just be like, as soon as you can start investing in your retirement, start doing it as soon as you can, because the sooner you start, the better it's going to turn out for you. Also, throughout the book, at the end of all of these chapters of the baby steps, it does have little stories from people who actually have been able to accomplish this. And if you're familiar at all with Lacy Phillips' work with like neural manifestation, she talks a lot about expanders. And that's what I kind of like to think of these sections as people who aren't celebrities, or like, I have no idea who this Meredith is. Anyway, but people who are just like the person next door who have been able to do these things and how it's impacted their life and how they did it. It's expanding your own belief that it's possible for you too, and they have them all throughout the book. So I really like that as well. That's one of the things I love about this book, is there are real life stories of people who have managed to do these things. And so that's one thing I'll say with the Dave Ramsey method is I do feel like it's feasible. That's why, even though living on a really tight budget right now, as I am, I have hope, because I know like the rewards of peace in having no debt and having a good handle on my money that's going to come afterwards. You know, once we've like been able to get through more of the baby steps. Baby step number 5 is begin college funding for your kids. My parents did that for me. My parents have always been really good with their money. My dad, he definitely a big Dave Ramsey fan, and I didn't fully appreciate how much that impacted our own family's like abundance and abilities and freedom until, you know, I've been a little bit older. That is to say that I hope to be able to do the same thing for my own child or children. And I'm just really excited to be able to have a really great financial legacy that just gives not only myself financial independence and freedom, but also my children. And then baby step number 6 is pay off your home early. And baby step number 7 is build wealth and give. And again, that's the thing that I'm really excited for. I do care a lot about so many different things. Like, I care a lot about children all over the world in dire circumstances, or not even dire circumstances, but just in need of more. And I care a lot about the environment. And so like being able to almost like vote with my money more so than I already am able to is really important to me. With the building wealth, like I said at the intro of this, just knowing that like you can be a highly spiritual person and also be comfortable and happy in the physical world, that's something my soul really desires. And I feel like this is like all a path to achieving that. And so I really love that about this financial book and these financial tips and advice that are really just very plainly spelled out. That's one of the great things about this book. It's not about really complicated hoops to jump through. It's just about checking off these little baby steps and being patient along the way. There is one aspect of the book. They do talk about the spenders versus the savers. I will say I don't entirely love being this partner is the spender and this partner is the saver. I feel like no one person is, I don't think anyone is completely one end of the spectrum and not at this end of the spectrum. You know, everyone, there's gray area, there's rainbow area, that's not black and white. So that is one little thing about it. But for the most part, I think the values and methods of achieving wealth are really feasible in this book. Probably my favorite thing about Dave Ramsey's money method or financial peace program is the allocated spending sheet. That is, again, something I can link down below, but even more so than the debt snowball, I would so strongly encourage you to take a look at the allocated spending sheet, print off a couple copies for yourself, and start using it from month to month. Even if you are still in high school or brand new starting in college and just barely have your own job, or maybe you're not going to college and you're just starting in a job and finding your way through into adulthood, please check out the allocated spending sheet and start using it the best way you can, to the best of your ability. If you forget, don't beat yourself up about it, but start using this allocated spending sheet. The thing I love about it is it puts priority, really important things at the beginning of your budgeting for, the 2-week time span or for a month, however you want to do it. I like doing it from month to month, but it puts the most important things first, and then you keep track of, okay, what left do I have? What have I not budgeted with yet? And it helps you to budget down to the last dollar. And that, it just gives you so much authority over your life and you creating the life you want, because you're seeing where your money is going. You're making the decision and you're putting the power in your hands to make your dreams, your goals a reality by knowing where your money is going. That has definitely been my favorite thing and the biggest benefit that I have gotten from going through the guide to money, Dave Ramsey's Guide to Money, is really learning how to be a fantastic budgeter. And it doesn't, maybe yours looks a little bit like my husband and mine right now, and you only have not even $2,000 to budget with a month, or maybe you have $10,000 to budget with a month. You decide where it goes and make sure you know where every single dollar is going. Even if you are budgeting hey, this is personal pocket money for me to spend when I'm out and about doing what I enjoy, you are at least making that decision rather than impulse buying anything. So anyway, I could go on and on about how much I love the allocated spending sheet. My husband and I have gotten to the point where we know it so well that we don't even print off the pages anymore. We just know the different categories and we rewrite it out from month to month on our own little piece of scrap paper. So definitely please check that out. Also, this isn't sponsored at all or anything. I just really do believe in things like the debt snowball and the allocated spending sheet. I guess to finish off this review, this is a review of the book, but also just kind of the baby steps and the method. But to finish it off, like I said, it's not for the faint of heart. It is going to require some patience and stamina to to get through those harder times when like you want more, but you are just like trying to really stick to your guns and not going into debt and living within your means. And it does bring peace to do so. And I guess because like I'm not at the end of the baby steps, that this is going to have to be like a part 1 review. So I would suggest at least taking a look at, you know, some of these free things that I'm linking down below, going back over what the baby steps were and seeing if you can just start implementing them in small ways in your life. Because I do love reading financial books and learning about this side of the world, please, if you have any suggestions of really good books on finances, let me know down in the comments. Another one of my favorites that I have another review on is called David Bach's Smart Woman Finish Rich. That's another one I highly suggest. But if you know any others other than that, please let me know and maybe I'll do a review on them in the future. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you follow the Ramsey method, if you like it, if you don't like it, what your thoughts are on it as well. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and keep coming back for more content, especially related to usually I'm doing videos on like English education stuff, but whenever I read a book I really like, I like to review it, and that's what I have done today. So again, please subscribe if you like getting book reviews, and keep coming back for more. Thanks for watching. Bye.